Okay, so it seems like we have a little bit of news regarding Vexoria the Sun Eater, who we've talked about a little bit on this channel. Obviously, we covered the stuff that went on with VirtuaCon, where she found out, obviously, how horrible it all was, and essentially started the movement for people to leave it, as well as some other stuff as well that has gone on, with her career, essentially. And, well, it seems like there has been another announcement, which a lot of people have been talking about, which has caught the attention of a lot of people, right? As she recently made an announcement saying, hey everyone, after a talk on stream yesterday and with Zolon, I decided to cancel all my in-person appearances at conventions in the US this year. It makes me sad to have to do this because I really wanted to see everyone. However, I do not feel safe traveling currently to the US. Hopefully I can still see you all virtually in some places. Miss you all. So yeah, obviously she will not be going to any conventions in person, which honestly I think is pretty understandable, right? With a lot of the stuff that is going on in the US at the moment, I do think that it probably isn't the best idea, especially as someone coming outside of the country into the country. It's probably not the best idea because, again, even I had some worries whenever I went last year. It wasn't as bad, last year. I don't think if I felt like a little bit more safer to go. But this year, there definitely has been a lot of stuff that has gone on, which you guys have probably seen on the news, right? And it does make people just anxious, right? And I think that is fair enough, right? No matter what kind of side you are on, whether you think it's right or wrong that they are doing this, right? I think it is just, as someone from the outside, as someone who wants to visit the country, it just doesn't feel very safe right now to go. And especially, because, again, they could just take me out for anything because obviously I'm not a US citizen or whatever. And I think the same goes for Vex, who is obviously from Canada, right? So yeah, she obviously says that, she will not be attending any of these in person, but she does mention the fact of virtual attendance, which I think is one of the most positive things to do with VTubing right at the moment. It's the fact that you are able to attend virtually as a VTuber quite a bit, and many people have done it, and it is a very common thing, especially at VTuber orientated conventions and stuff, which we have seen so many times. For example, Iron Mouse does it quite a lot due to the fact that, she can't really go outside as much, and especially with, other people as well. There's a lot of people carrying germs and things. Obviously, it's not exactly the thing. That is why con sickness is a thing, right? Because people just carry bugs and whatever, so it's not the best place for someone who is immunocompromised, right? And it seems like, yeah, obviously she has done stuff like that before, and then there's also some people who just don't like showing off their face or whatever, so they obviously attend virtually instead with their model on a screen. And there's also people who attend in person, of course, like Vex was doing, but it seems like, yeah, in the US that will not be happening. Maybe it will happen in other countries, I don't know. Obviously she just says specifically in the US this year, which, as I said, I do think is fair enough, and I think it is a pretty valid thing, because I've been thinking about going to the US again this year, but I don't know. I don't know, with a lot of the stuff going on. I don't really fancy a trip to El Salvador. So I might, leave that one and do something else. Because, again, there's also a lot of big VTuber conventions outside of the US as well, which a lot of people can attend. A lot of people were mentioning some Canadian ones, obviously, that are a little bit more local to her that she could go to. But there's also stuff like, for example, for me, there's like V-Expo, which takes place in the UK. So, again, obviously, that would be a very exciting one. I definitely think I might attend that one this year. I haven't really attended one before, but it has been growing quite rapidly. So I think I want to give it a try at least, which will be probably in September time. But again, there are so many alternative conventions, and as I said, there's so many alternative methods of attending the event as well, without actually going to it in person, as I said, with the screen. Now, there's many ways that this can come in. Obviously, someone can walk you around. Someone that's actually at the convention can walk you around on an iPad or whatever, a bit like how Iron Mouse does it. Sometimes, there is like whole entire teams dedicated to making like little robots and stuff that people can go around and we covered this recently. I think it was at Offkai. They had like a group of them, and there was like a ton of VTubers like in a horde of like robots, and people were making fun of it. But to be honest, I would much rather that than going there in person. I'm gonna be honest, like if I was a VTuber, I probably wouldn't attend one of these events in person, due to the amount of weirdos that do end up kind of going after people. But obviously that's not the reason that Vex isn't going, by the way. It's obviously due to everything that is going on in the US, which, as I said, is very, very fair, and I don't think people should be mad. I think I saw a couple of posts of people being pretty mad at her, saying like, oh, how dare you, whatever. Yeah, people say, who is this performative bitch, saying holy, which again, I think it's fair enough, right? I think for everyone it has their own kind of safety in their kind of interests, right? And I think it is a fair enough decision. Obviously, it is a personal one as well, right? At the sense of like, if you think it's safe and you think it's fine to go, then obviously go yourself, right? That's totally fine. You're free to do so. You have your own free will. But obviously, if Vex feels that, she doesn't want to, I think, that's fine, right? And people saying this is one of the most egotistical and self-centered tone-deaf posts I've ever seen. And again, I just don't think it is, right? Obviously, they say self-centered, and sure, like, they're saying, imagine taking a situation that you find horrible abroad and making it about yourself. This horrible thing is happening, and here's how it's affecting me. No, I don't see how people are so stupid. Like, she's literally just saying, hey, I'm not going to be traveling to these conventions. That's it. Right? She's not like, she hasn't made like some big statement on the state of the US or whatever, and what she thinks about it. No, she's literally just said, hey, I'm not going because I don't feel safe traveling there. That's it. And that's her own personal decision. You can't like bash her for that because, again, she hasn't mentioned anything to do with what is going on there, really, apart from just saying that she doesn't feel safe traveling, which I think is fair enough. And I think that's probably one of the best responses as someone who doesn't want to travel there, right? And obviously people saying, I would be out still. What are you afraid of? The things and your VTuber buddies have been doing propped, started all of this. I don't know what they mean. But again, I think like people are okay to be, afraid. People are okay to be, feel unsafe going there because, again, there is a lot of stuff going on there. Like we've seen, it's not stupid. And as I said, you don't have to be on any side here to think that, hey, maybe it is a little bit of an issue of someone coming into the country, right? Sure, if you're a US citizen or whatever and you care about, you think that ICE is great or whatever, sure, like fine, you're a citizen, but as someone who is coming into the country, it's a little bit harder because you're more likely to be you're more likely to be stopped. You're more likely, obviously, to get kicked out, right? Because technically you're not a citizen there, which obviously I think does present a couple of safety issues. And as I said, if you're an American, sure, you're mostly fine, right? I don't really want to go into it too much, but as I said, it seems like some people are kind of going after her over this. I don't understand, right? And obviously, yeah, some people obviously talking about it, saying an important message from one of the Kamiyoshi, saying, no, this is totally legit right now, personal safety first. People saying hopefully more VTubers stay far away from the cons. And again, I don't think it's necessarily a thing of, staying far away from the cons or whatever. I think it is just staying far away from, anything that could personally affect her, right? And I think that's totally okay, right? And obviously people saying, why? Because we're deporting, blank murderers and human traffickers. You don't feel safe. We built a wall on the wrong border, which again, obviously, you can argue that kind of stuff all you want. And I think that's, fine. If you want to argue that, you're allowed your own opinions politically on what you think about this. But I think, as I said, you are someone coming into the country while a country is actively getting people out of their country. You don't really want to go into the country where they're getting people out of the country, right? And I think that's a fair enough thing. Like from an objective kind of standpoint, I think that is fair enough, right? And I think it is pretty insane. Obviously, some people are saying like, oh, they think that ICE cares about Canadians, but sometimes there can be mix-ups, right? And there's been a couple of issues before of people who have been on holiday and things like that, which I think obviously, can affect things. And again, I don't think, it's one of these things that needs to be heavily politically motivated. It's obviously a personal decision of hers to not go, and that's okay, right? That's fine. You can have your own kind of opinion on that. And I think anybody attacking her on this is kind of stupid, right? Because as I said, you can have your own opinion, you can say what you like about everything that's going on, but at the end of the day, it's Vex's decision whether she wants to go or not, and she doesn't want to go. And that's pretty much it, right? You can't force her to go. You can't say, nope, I'm dragging you through the border, you're coming with me, right? No, of course not, right? And I think that is fair enough. And obviously, yeah, Alara saying 100% understandable, stay safe, saying wish you the best, Vex, much rather you all feel comfortable, said I've been really torn on the same thing. And yeah, obviously a lot of other VTubers as well, including Maple Chicken here, saying like, hey, I've been torn on the same thing, right? It's fair enough. It's fair enough that people were torn on it. And, some people will feel safe going there, perfectly fine. And I think that's also fine too. If you feel safe and 100%, okay, this is going to be great, this is going to be fine, nothing's going to happen, that's also totally fine. As I said, it's a personal decision as to whether you want to go or not. And, Vex has made that decision, and I'm sure other people will make that decision on whether they go or not as well. So, yeah. Say, what a mess. I'm wondering what we should do. Want to go to Odafest. So that's literally the weekend of my 40th birthday. Say, big love, Vex. Let's do a little stay home vacation stay-home convention hangout. We can finally play board games. And yeah, as I said, there are so many different kind of options as well, you know, that she has to kind of attend these conventions anyways. So again, it's not like the end of the world. And I think that's why it's been a pretty easy, well, I say an easy decision. It probably wasn't an easy decision, but an easier decision because she has so many options available to her compared to someone that might be you know, have to attend in person, because obviously stuff like screens, stuff like tablets or whatever, bringing people around isn't so common for like a YouTuber or a streamer that isn't a VTuber. So that wouldn't really be a thing. That wouldn't really be an option. But obviously, as she is a VTuber, it's more accepted, and VTubers are, you know, it's more of a common thing to attend virtually instead. So obviously, that is a massive bonus and a massive plus to obviously making this decision, and it does probably ease a little bit of the pressure, I guess, of not attending, because she will technically still be attending, just not in person and hopefully virtually. And yeah, I mean, that is essentially it, right? And I do think that, you know, obviously a lot of people getting mad, it's just stupid, right? Just respect someone else's decision. I don't care about going after them or going after someone just because they don't want to go somewhere. I think it's pretty stupid. I think you just look pretty silly, just saying like, you don't want to come here? Oh, okay, well, like, you know, what do you want them to do? Like, you're not going to drag them onto the plane, right? I just think it's dumb, right? If they don't want to enter, they don't want to enter. And I think that's fine. You know, that's fine. People can have that opinion. And also people that want to go and feel completely safe, that's also fine. So again, just respect people's decisions. I think it is stupid people were going after her over this. And yeah, I mean, that's essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.